Let's see. So, hello, Stephanie. What a wonderful day on a Monday again.
Hi, Mona. Monday, we'll start off the week with something new and
Very great.
interesting.
Yes. So, today we already have episode 6, Why You Should Care About Knowledge Management. And this time we start off with knowledge management and artificial intelligence, the good with the bad. So, Stephanie, we already had 5 other sessions, and we started big and became detailed and much more detailed. And this time we have a very special topic because a lot of people asking for what does it look like? How is it? How can we integrate? And I know that you have a lot of questions in regards of this. And so we decided, or you decided, to do it. What's good? What's bad? So let's start.
That's good.
Yeah. So are we ready to dive into the evolving relationship between knowledge management and artificial intelligence? Is the question. Is AI a threat or an ally to knowledge management?
Yes.
Really? And why?
It's not it's not a threat the way people might think that it's a threat. The threat, as I see it, is that people become ever more enamored with the technology and forget about the human side and the process side of knowledge management, because knowledge is human, and we already had a problem in knowledge management with people being too attached to the technology solutions, and technology is an enabler. I've said that for 25 years. I'm certainly not saying to not incorporate AI into your KM program, but it's the threat is that we begin to think like the AI, and that we become ever more entrenched with technology solutions and forget about the people. And so that's kind of what the threat is, as I see it, sort of on a meta level. But I think there's a benefit to it. It processes large quantities of data well and summarizes things well, and so there does helps. It helps in capturing tacit knowledge. So there are some good use cases for it, for sure.
Yeah, and this is the question. There are very good use cases in knowledge management for AI, but isn't the problem with the human side in knowledge management not only the AI, isn't it for a longer period of time, because no one is focusing on the humans, everyone is focusing more and more on the tools.
Yeah.
And forget about that everyone around is human.
Yeah. Yeah, and if we did something to help the humans, they might be able to make better use of the tools.
Yeah, and that's it.
Funny how that works.
Yeah, I think so too, because you need more the human side to understand, because the usage of AI is driven by humans, and we all have to deal with it.
Yeah, yes, it is. And the other thing with it is that to really make effective use of it, you have to have good knowledge management processes and practices in place, because it's a garbage in, garbage out situation. So, a lot of the people that I'm working with are trying to figure out how to clean up these repositories and things, so that when they're, adopting and using AI to read and to summarize and to utilize their repositories, that it's got good, clean data, that that the information that's been captured, then that's in the repositories that's feeding the AI is reliable.
Yes.
It's not 16 versions of the same document, over the last 18 months. And, really, we should really only be looking at one, not 16 previous iterations. And so stuff like that, that organizations aren't always that good at doing that stuff, so
you think we have to focus more on the people side at the moment when AI comes into place, because it was a problem before and it will not go away when you don't focus on the people.
Yeah, no, and this is the thing, we tend to ignore, and not just knowledge managers or knowledge management, professionals, we as organizations tend to ignore the people side, because it's messy and it's hard and it's not a one size fits all, and I think that this is part of the attraction of the technology. It's like, oh, well, I know what to do with that. I know I need to put a metadata tag here, or I need to, formulate the questions this way. I can take a training and understand how to, create prompts, ChatGPT, or, chat AI prompts, and so that I get better answers and things. And that's, that feels like I'm doing something, when the reality is there's some really messy things that we ignore at our own peril, honestly. And if we would deal with some of the people issues and the communication and the interpersonal collaboration and stuff, we would be a lot better off, not just in the collaboration and the cultural issues, but in how we're using the AI.
Yeah. And I think it would be also a good start at the moment to realize what's going on with AI and use the situation for a new start with the people. So remember this and remember that, because it's nothing else than another tool, but we have to focus on each other, because the tool will not go away. We have to figure out how to use it very, very well, and to overcome everything. Yeah. And I know it, because the leadership thing is, when we do it, it's time consuming, but you have to do it in that case.
Yeah, you do. The leadership thing is a big question these days. How do we lead in times of uncertainty? And AI has introduced a lot of uncertainty into our workplaces, and people are concerned about their jobs, and so how do you lead through that? That's a big part of the interpersonal, interrelationship stuff. The how do we communicate with each other, work together? So
yes, and therefore I think it's a good new start to bring in more communication, a good leadership style, because to take everybody with you, and so that nobody is harmed from the AI.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, and that's part of this creating a knowledge sharing culture stuff that I've put together over the last few months, is dealing with that interpersonal, the self knowledge first, and then the team, the collaboration, the interpersonal stuff, and then the last couple modules look at more of the leadership. So it sort of grows outward, from self to group to or team to leadership, and so but a lot of it's on, I'm using arts-based interventions, so to get to know themselves, and then to collaborate, and then to ask those leadership questions, and look at the world differently.
Yeah, and do you see different ways to integrate the AI into the knowledge management, to enhance knowledge management with AI?
Yeah, there's some interesting. Sorry.
No, are there special ways to do it?
Everybody gets really caught up in the ChatGPT large language model stuff, which honestly is one of my least favorite things about this whole AI push. I'm really interested in some of the organizations, some of the vendors I'm working with, some of the tech vendors I'm working with are doing things around findability and search using AI, so that you can find what you're you're actually looking for much easier, and take summaries that will summarize things, so you don't have to read the 100-page document. You can find what you need, and rely on that document, and not get some kind of hallucination that a large language model might spit out at you, depending, of course, how you set it up. But yeah, those are the interesting things, and around some metrics and quality of the repositories and things. That's interesting, because those have been problems for so long. The reliability of what's in the database and the repositories and things. So using the AI and to solve those problems, those findability problems, which have existed for as long as I've been doing knowledge management, that's more useful, rather than churning out images and text that doesn't maybe make sense. And it's interesting to me. I'm going to go a little off on a tangent here, but it's interesting to me. Everybody's all over the AI stuff and all keen and things, and yet I hear, at least anecdotally, that people don't want to see those images, that they don't want to read those texts, and yet the AI and the algorithms all love the AI generated. So it's like we're creating this stuff for the algorithms, and not for the humans. Like,
Yes.
You really want to be creating content that people don't want to read? Like, is it
No.
people? So
No, me not. So yeah, I really understand this. What do you think? Are there essential insights for an effective usage of AI?
Yeah, I think, the things that I like it for are when I have, an hour meeting or an hour and a half meeting, and I've got one of the note takers, the transcription apps connected to the meeting. And so I don't need to worry so much about trying to take notes, although I still find I'm jot down, keywords, but I can go back to the transcription and find it, and it'll provide a summary of what was decided in the meeting and things. So I find that really helpful. It's being used for search or for capturing tacit knowledge, again, through the transcription. So people have a conversation, much like you and I are having a conversation about a particular topic. Maybe someone's retiring and someone's interviewing them to capture some of the kernels of knowledge that they've had from this 20, 30-year career, or in some cases longer. And AI, again, makes a transcript, makes it searchable. You can go back to the video, you can summarize it. Those are the use cases that I find interesting as a knowledge manager, because that helps me digest the information. And it's the source is reliable because it's come from an interview, so I don't have to then go and fact check it. There was I forget what I was playing with it last week for some reason. I forget now, it doesn't matter. But I asked it specifically to give me references for what it gave, the answer that it gave me. And one of the references, 3 out of 4 references were okay. The fourth one was like, I've never heard of this person before.
Okay.
And it was a knowledge management question that I had asked it. And I'm like, if this person's in knowledge management, why haven't I heard of them? Not that I know everybody that's in knowledge management, but I've been around for 25 years. I know most of the names. Yeah. I know a lot of at least certainly the big names. And so this person exists. I spent half an hour tracking down this source. The person exists. They don't have anything to do with knowledge management. They've never, so I have no idea. It made me question have they paid off the algorithm, or whoever's created the algorithm, to get their stuff inserted in the answer to questions. Like, it made me question the whole thing.
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah, that's a good question. I think sometimes you have, when you place the question differently, you get different answers. So what I often do is putting in the same question in different ways and look what's coming up. But
yeah.
is there a special treatment in knowledge management? Where you can think of where it's really, really helpful to bring this in because of the workload people have?
I think, yeah, I think so. If you do the work to have the good, clean data for it to be, providing answers from, yeah, I think places like help desks or any kind of Q&A, any
Yeah.
function, I think I think those are good use cases. I think that in a project management world, maybe having lessons learned, again, a good clean database of lessons learned is useful, and having it go in and summarize and pull from that reliable data to pull out
Yeah.
the relevant information from a project management perspective or some other kind of role.
Yeah.
But it's all about having a clean database for it to pull from, and this is the quality of the data has been an issue for as long as we've been talking about computers. And
That's true. So I know this from implementation software into companies. So uh, if you haven't cleaned up anything, so you get crap out.
Yep, and it's the same thing with AI. So
Yeah.
crap in, crap out.
Yeah. But what I thought of is how can we help the people to prepare better to use the AI and keep human-centered?
I think just giving them permission to take the space, to ask the questions. Yeah, we can give them training on how to create, prompts. But it's the curiosity and the critical thinking, so that they're not just accepting, like
Mhm.
if this thing that I was doing with it last week, I could have just said, okay, yep, I'm going to take this answer and accept that this is the right thing, rather than go, okay, those three of those sources make sense, and I know I'm not surprised that those are the three sources that came up, but this fourth one doesn't make sense,
Yeah.
and so having that time, and sometimes there's a lot to be learned in the process of doing the research,
Yes.
and not just going to AI and asking AI to give me some kind of summary about some topic. There's something, not only does it spit out garbage in some cases, as we've been talking about, but there's something to be learned about following the thread of, oh, this is what I searched for, this is what I got, but that doesn't make sense to me, or this document makes me think about something else that leads to somewhere else. I mean, this is this is what.
Yeah, but this is something we always have to take care of because we cannot accept what's written down. We always have to look it up and control it, but it helps in so many ways to find quick answers, but you cannot rely on everything. Yeah, you have to check it.
Yeah.
But what I thought of is also, we are talking about ChatGPT, large language models, and other things for us outside of companies. But inside of the companies, they have different issues, I guess, because they first have to bring the AI into place, and offer a room, not bringing it into place for everyone to use open AI or something like that. So
Yeah.
because of the data, so you have to bring this into a personalized company-wide thing. So and then you have to be careful and get a secure path or something like that, where you can test everything, right?
Yeah, the security around that, bringing it in-house is key, and then the question around the algorithm and how you're gonna, the security of that, and there's all kinds of issues there, and I this is back more to an individual than a customer thing, but I've also heard people talking, initially, a couple of years ago when we were first starting to hear about AI, or a year and a half ago, about the large language model, there was a lot of talk about using it for coding, and people were all excited to use it for coding, creating apps, creating, whatever bits of code they need. And it's interesting now to hear a year and a half on, people who are experienced, software engineers and coders and things, they're not liking it, because it creates this code that looks good, but it's got syntax errors. So they spend more time debugging it and trying to find the errors than it would have taken them just to write the code themselves in the first place. So I've heard, again, anecdotally, about people migrating away from it for those reasons. And so, but yeah, and there's issues around security too, of having a large language model create a piece of code for you, because then what if there's a problem with it? How many other organizations, are using it? Is it introducing security issues into your environment and things? So that's a separate issue, really.
Yes.
It's different from the typical knowledge management case.
Yeah.
But yeah, from a internal knowledge management perspective, security certainly is a big issue, and then back to the quality of the data, and giving people the space to be curious and research properly and question whether this is really, a good answer, and really understand the use cases for it and for not using it. Certainly I'm aware of some organizations that have experimented with it and decided not to use it for things because it didn't make sense.
But I think it's a good start in that case, internally building some groups of people who are just starting, having an internal mentor for these people, explaining, let them experience themselves, give them the time. This is the time for using it, for experimental usage. Yes, because this is the human side of it, and you have to give the space, as you said, and therefore they need to have the space, otherwise they cannot use it properly afterwards, or they do not know why should we use it. You have to talk about, you have to communicate about it, right?
Yeah, and this is the interesting thing. I've talked to some students or university professors, about using it and how they're finding it with their classes and things, and that's what they're doing is, allowing their students to use it and to compare, the results that they might get from an AI generated assignment, versus their own work, and and introducing that so that the students actually understand the weaknesses of it and the strengths, but why they can't just take whatever AI spits out and accept that that's the right thing.
It's very, very large, big topic, and we all have to have an eye on it, right? Because it's overwhelming. And when you do not have any knowledge about it, and you say, oh, why do I need this? Just start small and compare and try it out, and give the space in companies, give the space and the help.
Yeah, absolutely. And step away from it too.
Yes.
Go for a walk, go and do, my favorite thing, do some art, and do some of those things that are going to build your resilience, build your curiosity and your critical thinking, if you're doing it in a team setting, then you're building those connections between people, among people, and that psychological safety and all of those kinds of things, so that you're doing better work together. Because this is one of the things I keep hearing a lot of lately too, and I feel like it's all somehow connected in with the technology, is people are really starving, for lack of a better word, for connection, for relationship. And and the technology, and as much as when social media first came along, certainly I thought, oh, this is a great way of keeping in touch with people that I don't see all the time, but it's also somehow now, 15 years on or whatever it is, a bit more, really caused a lot of divisions and a lot of loneliness and a lot of separation and echo chambers and all of that kind of thing, and intolerance, is because we found other people that think like us. And so, yeah, anyway, that's getting off on another topic, but
it's always a good and a bad. Like we said in the beginning, it's always something good and something bad. This is keep in touch, getting things done virtually. This is a great thing we had from using computers, from using Zoom or other technologies. So to keep in touch, to stay closer. But it's also, you have different things in social media, and it can be the other way around also. And you always have to find out what is best for me.
Yeah, absolutely. And
it's the same thing with the AI.
Doubly so. I have this quote that I use in my presentations, or have been the last few months using in my presentation, that says, it's a Sidney J. Harris quote. It says, "The real danger is not that computers will begin to think like humans, but that humans will begin to think like computers." And this is the problem. We need to help the humans be human, and
being human, and find out what is good for me, how much time to spend on it, and go out and talk to humans. You can get relationships and also a good community outside of business, to talk about all and everything and to find out new things. And I think this is, for the resilience of humans, this is key.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. I totally agree.
Oh, that's good.
It's, this is one of the things that disturbs me about the things that I'm seeing now. I know is this, people are exhausted, and burnt out, and they don't know who to talk to or who to trust. And we really need to be doing something about that, rather than throwing more technology, thinking technology is going to solve the problem. It's not. I know it's good for some things, as we've been saying, but there are other things that.
Yes, that's good for us to do the work, which is boring. But all and everything we have to think about. We are the people who can think. AI do not think.
Not think. It is, and it's not even intelligent, really. So it's just an algorithm.
At the moment, it's only an algorithm, and I think what I've heard so far, it takes a long way.
Yes, it does. It does.
Yeah. So Stephanie, nearly half an hour done.
These chats always go so fast.
It's always going so fast. So it was a great chat, and I hope everybody enjoyed it. I loved it, and yeah, if anything else comes up, let me know. Perhaps we have another chat.
Perhaps, possibly not till January, but
Yeah.
I think December's gonna be pretty busy. But
We will keep us up to date what's going on.
yeah, yeah, that's
Okay.
good.
Thank you so much, and
Thanks.
have a nice evening.